Hey, good sometime of day, depending on where you are and when you are watching this. Today I am going to go through the forces, all of the forces I believe, charge, the electric current and force, field, magnetic field, the gravitational field, the strong force and the weak force. So, charge. Okay, easy. Charge. Negative charge is an inflow, as they call it, because it flows into our dimension, our space. I know it's like these arrows point outwards, but the way it's envisioned is that this is water coming into the space, and an outflow is where the arrows point in, and this, because this is the water flowing down a drain, it's like it gathers there. Okay, so exactly, this is a dispersion, this is a low pressure, this is a high pressure. Electron, positron, electron, positron. There we go. From the past into the future. Out of the past into the future. Okay. Charge, done. Electrical field. So now we have a charge, and I don't really care which one at this point. And zooming along, because now we've put it in a wire, right? That's the whole thing about electrical field. That was electric field. That was this electrostatic field. But this now, so now we have either an inflow or an outflow. But zooming along at, let's just call it the speed of light for now. Now, one thing we know about fluids is when you have a flowing fluid, a fluid moving like this causes a low pressure zone at its surface, because there's constantly sort of a vacuum where that piece used to be. Even though there's a new particle there, that piece that used to be there isn't there. So what you get is the electrical field generated from the charge flow, right? Low pressure. The electricity moves in from space to fill that low pressure. Magnetic. So now we have because you get the magnetic field essentially, generally the way of making it is to coil a wire. And why? Because what is this? So we've got this, which is behind all this current in this way, right? All this electrical flow, I mean, all this flow is coming towards the wire, right? But because of quirk of, the manifold being like a chirality, because of this manifold thing, the wire is going this way. The chirality of the wire, I can't even remember, what is it, right hand rule? Current flows this way, the magnetic wrap is this way, which means that there's a chirality that goes sort of like this, but since the whole flow net is down this way, what we get is a magnetic field going this way, and therefore every divergence has a convergence. See how ADS space collapse created the universe. And so now we have what we call a magnetic field, because again, in here there is a flow this way creating a low pressure which pulls energy this way, down this way. Let's just envision it all as fluid flow. Okay, let's just envision it all as fluid flow. Low pressure zones sucking fluid of space into their vortices. Gravity. Oh wow. So in our model, right, a piece of mass is a photon trapped over its own energy. This is 1 Planck. Diameter, diameter. What is it? Diameter Planck? The radius is only half a Planck? I guess so. I don't really like Planck things. Anyways, but what I do know is that the circumference here is going to be 2 pi Plancks. And what you end up having is a photon trapped over its own gravity. Okay, so that means that the surface, which is going to expand up one of these matter particles. Okay, this surface is all spinning in all directions at the speed of light. Okay, the entire surface is moving at the speed of light. Okay, now the entire surface is moving at the speed of light. What does that say in Bernoulli's principle or one of those? Well, this entire area is a low pressure zone. Things will be pulled towards it. All things will be pulled towards it. Gravity. The more this you have, the more the collective low pressure zoniness you have, because this is a separate piece from here. So this is creating this much certain amount of low pressure. This is creating more low pressure. This is creating more low pressure. Is a way of looking at it. Okay, we're all getting sucked into the vacuum of the antimatter universe in a weird way. Or our own universe. We're getting sucked into the deepest voids of space. And the barrier is this light shell. Okay, but this is a low pressure zone. Why? Because this is spinning. You have a high speed, that means it creates low pressure. Low pressure. Gravity. Oh. Strong force. Exactly the same thing. Here's a low pressure zone. Here's another low pressure zone. Oh, they attract each other. Okay? And then they cluster together. Okay? Because they're just low pressure zones and they're clustering together. Now, how much permeability they have from each other, I don't expect they do. I mean, the thing is, protons and neutrons are almost the same, except that each proton has an additional inflow component from that charge. And therefore, while they would suck a neutron towards them from the mass attraction, you'd think that it would sort of try and, it's always going to be, as we expect, a sort of proton-neutron pair, or even best, 2 protons, 2 neutrons for stability. But regardless, the strong force, they get attracted to each other because their surfaces are both moving at the speed of light. There's 2 low pressure zones, they get attracted. And not only that, they now sort of like minimize their disturbance. They become a minimal energy packet. Okay, weak force doesn't exist. Okay, weak force, chromodynamics, I just think it's ludicrous, honestly, and I can get some flack, or people can go, oh, clearly nothing this person is going to say makes any sense if they're poo-pooing chromodynamics. But I just think, A, the color choices are demented and make no sense. I know it was like kind of cute. They thought there was cuteness to it, but it didn't end up being a practical decision, in my opinion. And this is how it works, right? 3 dimensions to the universe: electrostatic, electric, electromagnetic. Generations of neutrinos, 1 for each axis. Okay, if you want to be a stable unit of matter, you must have 3 components. Neutron has neutron has more than, actually. Thing is, neutron is not a stable unit. Okay, because really what this wants to do, because this is not a process, this is like a suspension in time, the neutron. It's sitting there, chargeless, just spinning. It's suspended in now. What it will do in 14 minutes or so is going to explode in a way, and this will develop positive charge on 3 axes. And we'll have an electron shell, so that we have a process now going on. It's not things that are stable, it's processes that are stable, that maintain their stability. And you have a mass unit there. Okay, but if you don't have 3 axes, you're not stable. Why is a muon not stable? It doesn't have 3 axes. You try and make 4 axes, it's still not going to be stable. 3 dimensions of space. I don't know why that exactly. Maybe because it's the minimum. It's the minimum so that you can take up volume, and maybe there's a special trick about volume that's important for a universe to have, or at least for our universe to have, since it's all got to make sense. But there's all the forces.